Rhonda, we want to get to know you a little bit better, so we're going to start off with some quick fire questions. The first one is favourite food and who cooks that?
My favourite food is neck chop boil up with watercress and potatoes, and my mum.
What was the last thing you binge watched?
Game of Thrones, the new series.
Favourite genre of music?
Jazz and blues.
If you could write a book about anything, what would you write that book about?
The wonders of life.
Early bird or night owl?
Both.
Football or rugby?
Rugby.
What is your hidden talent?
I'm an intuitive way to a practitioner. I'm a healer and can shift space.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm an eldest child, raised in the houses of both my grandmothers. I'm fully grounded in Te Ao Māori and equally grounded in Te Ao Pākehā. I love all my passports and love all my whakawhaka. And in that, I enjoy the realities that they both and all allow me. I love to learn. I'm a voracious learner. I love being put into challenging situations that I don't know how to manage so that I can learn new ways of being.
Tell me why you're running for Mayor and also for the Māori Board.
I'm running for Mayor because when I was head of the Māori department called the Whānau unit at Lytton in 2004 through to December 2010, I had 160 kids and 8 teachers under me, and that was in Lytton High School, 750 in population at that time. I told those children that we were born to be the head and not the tail, and that in the next 20 years' time I need them to be their very best to climb the mountain of education, so that when the treaty monies drop here, they can be ready to assist the growth of our people to new frontiers we haven't been before. With the Māori Board coming up and seeing that that's an exciting expression because it assures that the treaty partnership is there, it only seems right that I should aim for the head in the very way I encouraged our children to do so. And those children are 30 years old now. I'm just sowing seed for the next generation.
What characteristics do you bring to the council table?
I'm a strategic thinker and I'm well known by those who know me to be like that. Second to that, I'm excellent at being able to facilitate translation between peoples and understanding. Third to that, I'm able to take dense, difficult pieces of information and translate them upon at least 7 different ways to make that information understandable, depending on what community you come from and how and what register you need to hear it in. I've been doing that all my life, between my peoples that I call my family and the people that I've served over the years. I have an intense interest in being able to enable others to be amazing. I've also had experience within the New Zealand Post-Primary Teachers Association of 18,000 members and their executive. I'm used to reading lots and lots of papers. I've done enough degrees myself in learning, and I also provide a product for government contracts. So I know what it's like on that side and also know what it's like to serve governance. And I also have recent experience in terms of governance, and I've gone to train in governance tools.
What do you think Tairāwhiti needs in a council?
A dedicated council who's willing to do the work, to do deep reading and be across all the issues, at the same time have the heart, the minds and the ears of the communities that they represent, making sure that those voices have been properly stitched into the fabric of the planning, understanding that actually 70% of the planning's already been done, because that's what good governance is, and governors turn up to execute the existing plans with very little room for shift or movement. So in that, actually governors and the council are completers of works already set up by national government and then set to be able to allow people to live functioning, well-being lives in the Tairāwhiti.
If you're elected, what would be your number one priority?
My number one priority is housing and housing infrastructure for people in the Tairāwhiti. Why is that an issue? Because it affects 48% of our population. If we don't attend to this, then we're going to create greater disparity in Gisborne, and when people aren't happily domiciled or homed, that means the most basic needs aren't being met. And if we as a city don't care enough to be able to enable that, then we're really not serious about having a thriving community that we could let more than almost half this city suffer that way.
What does that look like practically?
Looks like this practically. We already know that there's 150 houses going in these two spaces over here, one by the hospital, one over here. 150 50 homes will go in each year for the next 4 years. The issue, though, that most of Gisborne is not aware of, the two big issues are that once it hits 400, we'll be at capacity with the grid with energy, and we don't have any alternatives. And so this is not well known, but if you're in infrastructure, you'll understand what the capacity is of what our city can cope with. So we know we've got energy infrastructure problems for growth and development. We've also got water infrastructure problems, water supply infrastructure problems, and with the RMA being retired and getting 3 new children, those will mean all new systems are about ready to play to change allocation models. There's going to be a need for harmonising and healing and recognising how priorities get onto the list in relation to what's already been prioritised in the Tairāwhiti District Plan from 2021 to 2031, and of course our spatial plan, which is to 2050.
For those who aren't part of that information or understand that, why does it feel like it takes so long for issues to be addressed or issues to be sorted in our community?
It's because me and you individually have different priorities to the priorities the region has set. We're different here in the Tairāwhiti. We're not just the district council that takes care of the curbside stuff. We also take care of civil defence and the regional plans. So we're 2 in 1, which means that you and I might be sitting out there and we're concerned about why haven't we got footpaths? And in the scheme of the region's priorities, that might be in the 2028 basket of what will be a priority then. And so, of course, people feel like they're not being properly heard. And the reality is that there are big bucks spent on companies who win government contracts and local contracts to be able to write all of these reports because they're high technical experts and their advice has been mined years before based upon the evidence of what the community sees. For example, the spatial plan 2050, that was put out in 2020 for the consultation. Here we are in 2022 and most of the public's forgotten what they've said. But that's actually what wrote the plan. Fascinating, eh? Part of it is the immediacy of our needs, what we want now, but good governance actually has a long-term view of things. And it's fair to say that much of our needs will be annoyed to think that we're not being properly cared for in the way that people bring up from their various communities the issues. But actually when you scope and you have a look, you can actually see where these things are being mitigated.